Hi guys, welcome or welcome back. Thanks so much for joining me. Today we're going to go through that one step that you're missing to perfect your urban portraits. So basically, like I've just said, today we're going to go through that one little step that most people miss that really can seal the deal in making that urban portrait absolutely epic. We're going to use an image that I've got on the screen right now of Bright. It was taken in York City Centre as part of the urban portrait puppy photography thing video that we did almost a year ago now, so I will go ahead and link that above if you want to see the behind the scenes. If you're new here, hi, I'm Jess. I am a portrait photographer person. I take photographs of mainly animals but also other things as well, and if you would like to stay up to date with all sorts of stuff that's going on, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon. The bell icon will give you a notification every single time I upload a video. I upload every single week, and occasionally more than that if I feel like it and if I have time. Other than YouTube, everything else is usually solidified and sent into the membership. Premium membership is for people who want more than what is on YouTube, and they definitely get a lot more. Let's just walk through some stuff here. So this is the relatively, raw file. I lifted some shadows and stuff. It's a little bit cool. Remember our white balance trick with the sliders. I'll go ahead and link that above. If we go ahead and just super quickly have a look at that, the step-by-step for this is, like I've said, up on that video. So with that sorted and our sliders all equalized, we can then start to assess the image itself. Now, this is like perfectly fine, but we can see it's wonky, right? So first things first, if you've got architecture, buildings, structures, anything man-made in your scene, make sure that you are getting your levels straight. So also things like horizons and trees, very, very important. So in this image, we do have some verticals. We can grab our little crop tool over here in Lightroom. Let me go ahead and just grab a rule of thirds overlay for ease. Grabbing our crop tool here in Lightroom, we can then go ahead and just sort of level it to something that is a straight line. So if we were to go ahead and level it to say the building over here, or even the wall that Bright's on, if you see kind of the lines aren't all going in the same direction. So although this is straight here, this is not straight over here. We're leaning like over on an angle over to that side. And if we go ahead and go straight along the floor, like so, then this is still leaning up here and this is leaning down here, and where do you go? So technically that's straight to the floor over here, the horizon line, but because of the angle that this was shot, it's not technically correct. If you remember all of our discussions that we've had previously on the channel about lenses and focal length compression and distortion, you do have, especially when you're shooting portraits of pets where you're really down nice and low, and you're shooting kind of almost upwards, you're going to have some bending of verticals happening. That's the thing that you need to solve. Now, it's so easy to solve. It's literally one click in most cases, but most people just miss it out completely. So what you need to do is go ahead into Lightroom. You can also do this in Photoshop, but we're going to look at it in Lightroom because it's easier in Lightroom, We want to go into the develop module of Lightroom and then go down on the right hand side past basic all the way to transform. So within transform, now that we've got that open, you can see that you've got kind of these little buttons. Okay, so we've got off, auto, guided, level, vertical and full. Now in most situations when you're working in an urban environment, it pays to shoot a little bit wider than you need to. What I mean by that is zoom out just a little bit, step back a little bit, because it'll give you a little bit more room when you go to correct your verticals. In terms of this image, all I'll need to do is press auto and the image itself will be fixed. And so just like that, that bottom corner's been pulled out. Let me do it again. So we've got off and on. We've been relatively straightened on the horizon line, and then the bottom corner's been pulled forwards to reset the verticals and then stretched up at the top. And that movement, that automatic correction, will straighten up your verticals across the entire scene, which really, really, really is worth doing. Let's go ahead and look at this on a different image, just as another example. Okie dokie guys, so using this image as an example, because this is from a super low angle, very wide 20mm lens. This was shot as part of our 20mm 1.4 review video, which again I'm going to link above. But for this, we were right down on the floor shooting kind of upwards. We've got these architectural elements happening all over the place, and as you can see, it's wonky in terms of its horizon. So if we were to straighten it up to kind of the, well, I mean, it is kind of straight to the horizon in terms of where his feet are, about there, is pretty level with this plank here. But we've got this leaning down and that leaning in, and this going kind of a bit all over the place. It's very much kind of stretched out in a way that's technically incorrect. Now, I'm not saying that you have to do this for your wide angle shots, because sometimes that distortion is something that you particularly want to achieve. So when you're in Lightroom, go into that transform section and go ahead and hit auto. If you hit auto, technically all of your verticals should be correct. It doesn't always work like that, and if it's not working perfectly, you'll know, because your image will be like basically upside down. Go ahead and hit level to get your levels correct. Vertical if you want to solve your vertical situation. Full if you want to try and fix it in its entirety with a wide angle lens shot to create some distortion. That's not going to work very well. So in my opinion, auto is your best bet. As you can see from that, if we go from off to auto, we've not solved all of the vertical distortion, but the image was shot at an angle that used the distortion. So realistically, that is probably more correct than the original one that came out of the camera. When you're working with your urban environments, architecture, arches, even trees that are leaning at an angle either inwards or outwards, depending on the angle of view that was shot, it pays to correct your verticals before you start your edit, because you'll be able to fine-tune your composition, get the fine details correct, and advance your shots tenfold. So that's a little tip to keep in your back pocket. If you've got verticals in your shot, make sure that they are straight and correct. Correct that vertical transformation and move forward with your photography. I hope that helps, and I'll see you all again really, really soon.